What's going on, guys? With you here, the brand new video, and the UFC is going to be making its return to San Diego, California for a fight night, and it's going to be an absolute barn burner of a main event that we're going to have. I'm talking about a UFC bantamweight clash that's going to have major implications in the rankings, especially in the top four. I'm talking about the number 5 ranked Ecuadorian killer Marlon Cheeto Vera with a record of 19-7-1 versus the former 3-time bantamweight champion of the world, once with the WEC, twice with the UFC, Dominick Cruz with a record of 24-3. I absolutely love this matchup. This matchup is going to be electric, especially with all the things I've been seeing from Marlon and all the things I've been seeing with Dominick Cruz. Dominick Cruz is 37 years of age. He's 3 years away from being 40. That's usually the magic number that gives these fighters an indication that they need to retire. But what I've been seeing lately from Dominick Cruz is that he still has plenty of gas in the tank. Even though he's 2-2 in his last 4 fights, 2 out of those 4 fights were title fights. One was against Cody Garbrandt, in which he lost the title. Another was against Henry Cejudo, and where he was a challenger trying to fight his way for his 4th UFC title, basically, because like I said, three-time UFC bantamweight champion of the world. He's trying to do it for the 4th time. He ended up failing. He ended up getting knocked out in that first or second round, and here we go again. Obviously Dominick Cruz is still trying to make his way back into the top 4, back up the rankings, trying to get another title shot, but it's going to be hard because Marlon Cheeto Vera is currently riding a 3-fight win streak. His last performance was against Rob Font. It was spectacular. It was his first time having a 5-round main event in the UFC. And like I said, Marlon Cheeto Vera is the only ranked fighter out of the country of Ecuador. The only ranked fighter from the country of Ecuador that's ranked in the top 10. So he's making history as he continues to develop in his career. But that fight that he had against Rob Font, he looked electric. It was a one-sided beatdown the whole entire time. His movement was absolutely fluid, and his striking was absolutely parallel. There was no way that Rob Font had a chance of winning after rounds 2 to 5. It was really close. The first round, obviously Rob Font was hitting Cheeto with a lot of bombs, but Cheeto was able to come back and retaliate and hurt him, and he just kept on hurting him, and it was just a miracle that Rob Font wasn't knocked out in that fight. And as a result, Cheeto Vera has been granted his wish. He wanted to fight Dominick Cruz for the longest time, and now he's getting it. It's going to be a 5-round main event in San Diego. This is basically the hometown of Dominick Cruz. Dominick Cruz originally being from Arizona, but he moved to San Diego a very long time ago, and he's had his camp over there ever since. And now he's going to be fighting in front of his home fans, and these guys are definitely going to be electric. They're definitely going to be happy to see him, and they're going to be extremely loud. So obviously, Marlon Cheeto is going to be going into the home territory of Dominick Cruz. And the thing I like about Marlon Cheeto Vera the most is that he did beat Rob Font. He also beat David Grant, and he also beat another UFC legend. This guy is just as legendary as Dominick Cruz is, Frankie Edgar. He knocked him out, I believe it was in the first or second round around there, by a beautiful front kick in front of a massive MSG crowd in New York City, USA. So obviously a lot of great things happening for Marlon Cheeto Vera, a lot of good things happening for Dominick Cruz as well. But the thing I'm scared about Dominick Cruz is that during his last fight against Pedro Munoz, he got knocked down 2 times in that fight, and that was in the first round. And the thing about Pedro Munoz is that he has a lot of respect for his opponents, and sometimes that respect can be a double-edged sword. And for Pedro, it happens to be a nagging dagger to the side, because it really hinders him to be able to finish these opponents that he's facing, and that's why he's been having I believe it's a 3 or 4 fight losing streak. But the thing about Marlon Cheeto Vera is that he doesn't respect his opponents at all. He understands that when he gets inside of the octagon, it's nothing but business, and all respect for his opponent goes out the window. The only thing that he has on his mind is winning the whole entire time, and he's not going to have a problem with that when he goes inside the cage against a legend such as Dominick Cruz. Both these individuals are high-level strikers. Both these individuals are well-rounded mixed martial artists. But if there's one thing for Dominick Cruz that he can be able to take away from Marlon Cheeto Vera, was his last loss against Jose Aldo. During that fight against Jose Aldo, Chito Vera looked really nice in that first round. He's piecing Jose Aldo up a lot. But as soon as Jose Aldo got Marlon Chito Vera down to the floor, got that body triangle in there, Marlon never got back up. And the thing about Dominick Cruz is that his specialty is with wrestling. Wrestling is his background. That was his first love. That was his first martial art, basically, before getting into mixed martial arts in general. And if he can be able to get Marlon Chito Vera down to the ground and be able to lock out that body triangle, it's going to be extremely hard for Marlon Chito Vera to get back onto his feet. And Marlon probably knows this, and that's why he's going to be working on his takedown defense a lot. And if this fight doesn't go down to the ground, it's going to be striking primarily, and I'm going to have to give the edge to Marlon Chito Vera, even though Dominick Cruz has been looking really crisp lately with his striking, looked really good against Pedro Munoz. And then when he had his fight against Casey Kenny, he also looked really good as well. So like I said, Dominick Cruz, he's working his way up. And those 2 wins that he had, his last 2 wins, Pedro Munoz, Casey Kenny, 2 young guys, and he's only continuing to get better and better and better as he continues to get older. But like I said, Dominick Cruz has a history of injuries, and if those injuries get in the way of his fight against Marlon Chito Vera, he does have a high possibility of getting finished in this fight. But it's going to be a back and forth. It's going to be a back and forth fight until someone gives in. It's going to be a high-paced, action-paced type of fight, and someone's eventually going to get tired, and we're going to have to see who it's going to be. But if there's one thing about Dominick Cruz that he has the edge on against Marlon Chito Vera is that has more experience. He has more fights. He's had more fights in 5-round fights than Marlon Chito has had in his career so far, which means that obviously Dominick Cruz knows how to train for these type of fights. His cardio is going to be up there, and he's not going to get tired. Marlon, he didn't get tired during his last fight, and he has a great camp with Jason Parillo, and Jason Parillo is one of the great minds in the sport of mixed martial arts. And Jason Parillo is going to study the crap out of Dominick Cruz, and they're going to come up with a great game plan to be able to neutralize Dominick and everything that he has to bring to the table. But if Marlon can be able to defend against the takedowns, keep the fight on the feet, and basically keep some distance. Obviously, you want to overwhelm Dominick Cruz, but you also want to neutralize the movement, because Dominick Cruz has some of the best footwork in all the mixed martial arts. His movement is extremely well versed, and that is what confuses a lot of fighters. And if Chito Vera can be able to neutralize that with his own movement and cut him off, then he can be able to edge in some strikes in there and really be able to hurt Dominick Cruz. I really love the head kicks the snapping head kicks and the switch kicks that Chito Vera was using against Rob Font. If he can be able to use that against Dominick Cruz, then he does have a great way of being able to win this fight. But also, the hook, the right hook can also be there as well for Marlon Chito Vera. Like I said, Dominick Cruz got clipped twice against Pedro Munoz. Both of those strikes were hooks. Obviously, if I'm Dominick Cruz, you're going to want to work with the head movement, and you don't want to get too overzealous with anything, because if you do, then Marlon Chito Vera can definitely put you out. Like I said, Dominick Cruz is 37 years of age, and Marlon Chito Vera is 29. Marlon is the young, hungry lion that's trying to take out the old lion, the old worn out lion has been through a lot of injuries, has been through a lot of battles within his mixed martial arts career. But as his old lion has gone through all of those adversities, he's basically found a second breath, a newfound life in this bantamweight division. And Dominick Cruz, I can't wait to see what he does against Marlon Chito Vera. I have to pick a winner between these two individuals, because both these guys have the same body frame. Both these individuals are basically built the same. It's just the age that's pretty much different. And Marlon Chito Vera is going to have a 2-inch reach advantage. Not the greatest reach advantages out there in the world, but he's definitely going to use it to his advantage, especially when it comes to utilizing the space and utilizing basically the pocket. Obviously you want to keep arms width length away from your opponent. That way, when you throw strikes, your opponent won't be able to hit you back. The name of the game is hit and don't get hit. And Marlon Vera does a pretty good job of doing that as he continues to get better in his career. And like I said, if you ask me who's going to win this fight, I'm going to go with Marlon Vera, number 5 ranked in the world versus number 8 ranked in the world, Dominick Cruz. Dominick Cruz has had a great run through his whole entire career, but I think Marlon Vera is just getting better and better and better, and he continues to keep evolving his game as he continues to fight and fight and fight through this stacked bantamweight division, and this is his time. Dominick Cruz has had his time. He's fought for the title plenty of times before in the past, and I think that Marlon's just going to be hungrier, and he's just going to blitz Dominick Cruz with the onslaught of strikes and combinations and traps, and I believe that Dominick Cruz is going to fall in these traps, and I think Marlon Vera is going to put a stamp on his run for the title and knock out Dominick Cruz, and I think it's going to happen in the 3rd round. I think the first round is going to be a fill-out round. Second round is when Marlon Vera is going to put it on him, and the 3rd round is where he's going to finish it. What do you guys think about this prediction? Am I right? Am I wrong? I want to hear you guys' prediction as well of who's going to win this fight, because it's such a fascinating fight. I really do like it a lot for this division. Like I said, it has implications. If Marlon Vera can win this fight, he can possibly get into the top 4, because the top 4 guys are going to be fighting each other very soon in the future. And the same thing for Dominick Cruz as well. If he can be able to get an impressive win against Marlon Vera, he can take his ranking in number 5 or possibly get into number 4. So I really do hope you guys enjoyed this video. And definitely comment what you guys think, who's going to win, by what method of victory. And like I said, I appreciate it. Stay blessed, stay safe, guys. I really do mean it. The world is a little bit crazy nowadays. But I'll see you guys later. Peace.